Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Thank you so much for being a viewer and a subscriber. My name is Dr. Chhoda. Here's a little bit of information about me so you learn a little bit more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. Also, if you learn something new from this video, please consider clicking the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. Let's just jump right in. The US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell have been testifying in front of lawmakers, and they expect a full economic recovery, and they expect unemployment levels to go back to where we were prior to the pandemic within the next year or so. They expect all things to return to normal or mostly back to normal by the year 2022. In this video, I'll dig deeper into their comments and tell you exactly what it means to you. This channel, the Ignition Time channel, is about the country, it's about the economy, and it's about your money. Let's just jump right in. On your screen, you'll see an article published by CNBC. The headline reads, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen sees full post-pandemic growth, possible full employment by the year 2022. Now, it's very clear that the US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is not concerned about inflation. She did say that there could be a short-term spike in inflation, but it will essentially come back to normal. And by the way, these comments were echoed by the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. In case you're wondering what all of this means, inflation is when prices go up and it costs more money for you to be able to buy a gallon of milk, for you to be able to buy gas. Now, it is projected that there'll be an increase in inflation, but inflation is expected to come back down to the normal levels, which is right around 2% a year. So this should not be a long-term concern. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the comments from the US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. On your screen, you'll see the written testimony from the US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen that was prepared for the Financial Services Committee in the US House of Representatives. And this is what Secretary Janet Yellen said. She said, with the passage of the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, I quote, I am confident that people will reach the other side of this pandemic with the foundations of their lives intact. And I believe they will be met there by a growing economy. In fact, I think we may see a return to full employment next year. Now, this is extremely encouraging. Also, as I'm recording this video, new information is coming in. Here's the headline of an article on your screen from the New York Times. Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen testify how relief aided the economic recovery. So the new information that is coming in suggests that the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has told lawmakers that the economy is healing from the pandemic downturn, and he continued to play down inflation concerns at a hearing before House lawmakers. Now, as far as the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is concerned, there was one thing that he said that really jumped out at me, because I have been watching this hearing as I was planning and as I was preparing for this video. Here's what Jerome Powell said. He pointed out that the economy has recently improved and the labor market has started to add back jobs. Now, keep in mind that individuals in travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality have in many cases seen their jobs vanish, decimated, their industries decimated, small businesses decimated. And these $1,400 stimulus checks will help millions of our fellow Americans put food on the table, keep the lights on, pay their rent, pay their mortgage, and have a roof over their heads. So this is what Jerome Powell said. He says that even though jobs are coming back, he said those metrics may not capture the full extent of the damage that has been done to different parts of our economy, to workers across our economy. Remember, women have been impacted more than men. African American and Hispanic individuals have been impacted more than white individuals. Individuals with a high school diploma or lower have been significantly impacted relative to individuals who had a graduate degree or higher, because those individuals who are essentially more educated in higher paying jobs have actually seen their jobs increase, the number of jobs increase, and the demand for what they do increase because they can work remotely. But if you're an individual in travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality, your job has your hours have been cut back. You may have lost your job permanently, and even if you're starting to get your job back, it's not quite where it was compared to where we were prior to the pandemic. So here's what the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said. However, the sectors of the economy most adversely affected by the resurgence of the pandemic and by greater social distancing remain weak, and the unemployment rate still elevated at 6.2% underestimates the shortfall. What he's saying is that there are specific sectors, like I mentioned earlier, travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality, that are still badly impacted as a result of the pandemic. And there's a disproportionate impact on those sectors. And those are the areas, those are the individuals, Those are essentially the communities, if you will, African American communities, Latino communities, who are bearing a disproportionate impact of the pandemic. And while the US Treasury Secretary and the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell have been busy, so has the President of the United States. He actually spoke today about the recent spate of shootings, one that occurred last week in the Atlanta area where we had 8 victims, 6 of them of Asian descent, in 3 spas. And we had an incident that just took place at a grocery store in Boulder, Colorado, which involved 10 victims. So President Biden decided to address this, and in fact, he called on the Senate to immediately pass 2 House bills on gun reform following this grocery store incident in Colorado yesterday. He said this is not and should not be a partisan issue. This is an American issue. It will save lives, American lives, and we have to act. Let's roll the tape and hear from the President of the United States on this very important day where multiple issues are colliding for us as a country. Remember, this channel is about the country, the economy, as well as our money. For me, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American first, and so are you. Let's roll the tape and hear important comments from President Biden addressing what just took place and what seems to be an ongoing problem in our country. Let's roll the tape.
Let alone an hour to take common sense steps that will save the lives in the future, and to urge my colleagues in the House and Senate to act. We can ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country once again. I got that done when I was a senator. It passed. It was law for the longest time. And it brought down these mass killings. We should do it again. We can close the loopholes in our background check system, including the Charleston loophole. That's one of the best tools we have right now to prevent gun violence. The Senate should immediately pass, let me say it again, the United States Senate, I hope some are listening, should immediately pass the 2 House-passed bills that close loopholes in the background check system. These are bills that receive votes of both Republicans and Democrats in the House. This is not and should not be a partisan issue. This is an American issue. It will save lives, American lives, and we have to act. We should also ban assault weapons in the process. I'll have much more to say as we learn more, but I wanted to be clear. Those poor folks who died left behind families that leaves a big hole in their hearts. And we can save lives, increasing the background checks so that they're supposed to occur, and eliminating assault weapons and the size of magazines. We don't know all the detail yet on that. But I'll be talking to you more later today or in the next couple of days about what else we know. May God bless you all and those families who are mourning today because of gun violence in Colorado and Georgia, all across the country. We have to act so there's not more of you, there's fewer of you as time goes on. Thank you so much.
And as all this is happening, the $300 a week unemployment benefit is being rolled out to multiple states across the country. So that is an encouraging thing. However, the incidents of fraud are widespread, and this is horrific. Let's show you this headline of this article on your screen from Bloomberg. The US unemployment system is plagued by $63 billion in fraud and dysfunction. Because the unemployment benefit systems in the states, the departments are overwhelmed with fraud. They are finding it hard to do what they were supposed to do, what their basic intention is, what their basic duty is, which is paying out unemployment benefits to their customers, specifically the workers who are relying on those unemployment benefits. So the problem with fraud is twofold. Not only is money wasted, it essentially takes resources away from helping those people who need it the most. I'll provide you with a link to this Bloomberg article in the description section below, as well as a CNBC article, as well as comments from the US Treasury Secretary and the Federal Reserve Chairman earlier, so you can check them out on your own. And I'll also provide you with a link to the prepared remarks from the US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Make sure you check those out in the description section below. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I work hard every single day on this channel to bring you the latest news so that you can have a reliable, truthful source of information. And I promise to tell you the truth wherever the truth might lead us. Thank you so much for watching. Please click the like button, please subscribe, please enable notifications if you learn something new. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. It really helps out the channel. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.